Oh boy, I get to show you guys one of my favorite, if not my favorite epic of all time. I've talked about this epic before on this channel, but I've never really done like a full guide on him, and I think I'm going to do it today. Of course, this epic we are talking about is going to be someone you guys have pulled lately, Royal Guard. Now, Royal Guard is maybe the single-handed best AoE nuking damage in the game for PvE, and he's probably the best PvE damage in the game if we think about it, because this character is decently easily accessible being an epic, mass AoE damage, turn meter reduction, decreased defense. He's got it all. So today we're going to talk about this character in a little bit of detail, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to talk about his skills. His basic attack, and this is someone you're going to want to fully book, decreases their defense, or has a chance to at least. It goes up to 65% when fully booked. Without it being booked, it's 50% chance, okay? And that's a 2-turn. Now, his second move is really why we like him. It's an AoE move. It does damage, increases according to enemies' max HP. This means bosses and dungeons, namely Spider, Ice Golem, things of that nature, are going to receive mass amounts of damage. This is how we quickly nuke through bosses come in-game. Then he has Hamstring, which is a 4 times at random, so sort of a pseudo AoE that will decrease the target's speed, as well as has a chance to remove the turn meter, which is really what we care about. Plus, all of these moves hit pretty hard, and then he has the largest ally increased attack for dungeons in the game at 35%. So Royal Guard has a pretty good amount of things to keep him going. Okay, now masteries I take is I just go for basically pure damage. So what I'm looking for here is the basic set increases. I'm looking for pure crit damage. I'm looking for mass damage. Okay, so everything damage related is what I got, and I went the crit damage route with flawless execution. Okay, now in terms of artifacts, we're going to follow the same vein. We're going to want to try to get 100% crit rate. Now I built 3 of them, so not all of them are built the same, but I had to get as close to 100% crit rate and as much damage as I could on all of them. So if you look here, what I have is 87% crit rate and 308 crit damage. Now, I use these guys in Spider Dungeon, and I use them with a crit damage or a crit rate lead, which is why they're not all 100%. And I will show you that in a moment. But you want to try to get as high of attack as possible and as high of crit damage as possible. The idea here is to nuke, okay? And now your speed boots are probably something you're going to want for most uses. I like to use attack boots, but I'll show you why in a moment. Now, some of my other Royal Guards here I've also used like crit sets on. You can use savage sets. You can use cruel sets. Really, whatever happens to give you your best stat performance. You'll see here, this one is right around the same attack with 96 crit rate and 270 crit damage. I'm really just looking for those high numbers, just pure damage as much as possible. And then this is a little bit lower crit rate there. 271 crit damage, etc. So that's really what we're looking at in terms of artifacting. Okay, we're looking for crit damage necklace. We're looking for like an attack chest plate, most likely. We're looking for crit damage gloves for sure. We're looking for speed boots if you can get them, or attack percentage boots, and then we're looking for high amounts of crit rate, crit damage, accuracy if you need it, and then obviously attack and attack percentage is what we're looking for, and then speed if you don't have any of those banners. You're either looking for accuracy or attack, depending upon if you're trying to get the defense down, and the speed reduction, or whether or not you're just looking for pure damage. Now, in terms of how does he actually play out when it comes to the numbers, let me show you, in case you've never actually got to see for some reason a Royal Guard in action, let me show you how this looks. Now, I use 3 of them in conjunction. This is never a team that is relevant really for the majority of people, but this is how I use the Royal Guards. I use 3 of them in conjunction with a Longbeard, where Longbeard charges in, making the 3 Royal Guards attack the primary Spider. One of them will then apply the defense down, which then Bad Oak Czar and Longbeard apply both poisons and weakens. This will trigger the Royal Guard, making them think to use the AoE for mass damage. The 2 Royal Guards will go and kill all the Spirelings. Then the third one is just slow enough to make more Spirelings spawn, so that the AI is smart enough from Royal Guard. You'll see here, now that there's 4 of them, he's smart enough to use his there. If he was any faster, it won't work. That's how I use my Royal Guards, but you can literally just have one Royal Guard, and like some Code Hearts do basically the same thing, using like a Tyrell for the defense down instead of like a Longbeard, or you can just use them in the other dungeons. You don't have to use them to cheese Spider. You can use them just for like normal stuff here. If we'll just throw some Royal Guards in here, okay, just to show you some example. Let's get like an AoE defense down. And you can use it just to clear waves. That's the other thing about it, is that the Royal Guards do a good job clearing waves. I mean, they do plenty of damage, but in order for them to be good at clearing waves, you want to make sure that you do actually have a good amount of attack on them as well. As they scale off of enemy max HP, they won't do a lot of damage to just normal trash mobs if you don't have decent attack on them, because they're trying to scale off the enemy max HP, right? The other thing is you're going to notice here is they're fairly squishy. So trying to get them to stay alive to get to the end can be difficult. For this reason, the second round is when they start to die. If you don't have either them A, fast enough where they can start reducing people's turn meter, or B, a reser, they can be dead by the time you get to like the third boss. So for that reason, you might want to consider either pairing with a revive or some kind of way of CCing the enemy team, or at least having them fast enough, as you've seen I have attack boots on some of these, at least having them fast enough where you don't run into this problem that my very slowest Royal Guard there experience. Now, once you actually get to the bosses, you can see here, this is really where they shine. The whole idea behind these guys is that they're massive damage on the boss. Pow, there you go. So you did about half the life of him alone. There's only 3 people left, and we should still have like a decent time regardless on this boss. That's really that's kind of the meat and bones of Royal Guard. There is that 700k crit you saw without a weaken. That's why people use him. That's why he's beloved. And that's really how people beat things like the Spider Dungeon, is with that mass damage. So if you get your hands on the Royal Guard, I highly recommend maxing this character out. He is in fact worth the books. And interestingly enough, actually, if you guys know Kyra Mobile, the #1 named Raid Shadow Legends, right? The first epic he pulled and the first character he ever fully maxed out was a Royal Guard. He put all his books into it. This is back before we were content creators or anything, before we got free books and all that. He put all his resources right into this character. And we thought he made a mistake in the beginning, but then we learned the character was nuts. And it was really funny watching the process live and actually learning, that from experience rather than just going and, learning from a video or something like this, when we actually learned that experience live and got to see it. So it was quite enjoyable. So the long and short of it here is, if you did actually pull Royal Guard, you should for sure commit into him. And there's 2 other things we got to talk about, which is in order to fully encompass this character, one of which is Arena. I don't recommend using them in Arena. Here's like, this is a max HP type of team. I'll show you. If we put the Royal Guards in here, just so you can see, even on a team that's like, this is a full HP type of building team, and we give them attack up, even against the type of team where we should do good damage, you're seeing there 20,000. These aren't huge numbers. These are numbers like a Kel could do, for instance. And on top of it not really being like large numbers, he doesn't really offer anything that PvP typically values. Like, we don't have ways to CC, we don't have ways of removing buffs. He's squishy. Like, there's just a lot of problems with him when it comes to PvP. Also, people always ask about the clan boss here. And I'll tell you what, just to show you, this is a strong affinity, okay? And I'm going to waste 100 gems here just to show you. And I'm going to do there. I'm going to put Rosin in here, okay? I'm going to throw the crit lead in, and I'm going to throw Rosin just to get the defense down weaken. And what I'm going to show you here is, while they're strong typing too, that the damage is not only capped, so you don't do large amounts of damage, but he's really just ineffective here for that reason. Let me see if we can get it. There we go. Defense down, weaken. Hopefully we can trigger the Royal Guards to go off there. Bang. Okay, so 290,000. There's 352,000. Okay, so that is more or less the type of damage that you can do with a basic attack with like Giant Slayer procs. Like, even my Rosin could do that with the Giant Slayer procs alone if he triggered all 3 of them. Rolos could do that with taking extra turns. I've seen Mashal do 250k a pop. So you can see the numbers. There's 300k and all that, and that it looks cool. That's great, but it's not significant numbers. It's not good enough to be used in Clan Boss. But that being said, this is an in-game. I'm fighting Ultra Nightmare here, and we are trying to compare it against something it's not really designed for. If you pull this character fairly early and you're doing like Bruto or hard or even normal or something, or if he's your first epic like it was in Kairamobo's situation, I mean, you can still do some damage, you know? I mean, he's still usable. It's just he's not... When you pull him, you don't think there's my clan boss team like you would think when you pull Tyrell, for example. But if you do pull him and you're using like Outlaw Monk or something, I guess, yeah, you could probably replace him then in that scenario. But I'll let this roll out here. That way you can kind of see exactly why people don't really use him in clan boss. Although we got some decent damage. And, we got like 5 million or something out of it. You would think it's pretty funny. Waste of 100 gems. But you can see it's also capped. You know, you would see that same Royal Guard who's doing almost 2.5 or 2 million or whatever this is, Spider, right, is only doing 300K to the clan boss. If he was doing, you know, a couple million per, then that might be another discussion. And you could pair him with like a Kaimar or something, have him reset the moves. But as it is, it's not. And so as you're seeing, he doesn't really pull the numbers you would need in order for him to be highly effective as a clan boss character. 3, 2, and if this video was at all useful, please do subscribe so you can be notified when I do more of these. I do these daily, and I try to always make a useful video for you. I love y'all. Have a good day.